What's up, everybody? How we all doing this fine Saturday night? It's the Transformers Slag podcast Saturday night live stream main event. I'm your host, Proto Man. I'm the mug that you got to deal with the whole week. Now you finally get to see it instead of just listening to it. How we all doing? We're just going to chill tonight. We got a whole bunch of stuff we got to cover. Over in the news segments, this and that we're going to break down a little more deeper tonight, as opposed to the individual segments that we had this week when the information was kind of vague. And we'll just take some super chats and just relax for the rest of the evening. Just want to give a shout out to Jesus Prime. It was his birthday last week, and during the stream, he sent me a message asking for a shout out. He was one of my patrons. And unfortunately, I didn't see it because during the stream, I kind of locked down the phone and everything to the best of my ability. So, late happy birthday, Jesus Prime. And thanks for all the love and support. So, guys, we're going to jump into the news. We're going to talk about some robots in disguise. And then we'll take some super chats from the fans and just relax the rest of the evening. It's going to be a busy night, to say the least, for me. Got some wrestling to watch afterwards, which I'm going to be getting to a little late, but the Royal Rumble's all about the end anyways. So let's jump into the news, my friends. First one we got to talk about, in long form, the Transformers Classic Heroes team, which is pretty much Hasbro's offshoot of their Rescue Bots line and then their short-lived Dinobot Adventures line. These were listings that we saw 2 weeks ago. There was speculation of how this was going to go down, what we were going to see, what was going to be seen. And historically, the Classics Heroes team line in its short period of time has always been reissues. It's always been taking pre-existing Rescue Bots product, repackaging it so that there still is something in the preschool division for kids, and then putting it out there. And when I saw Grimlock and Optimus Primal on that list, along with Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, well, I assumed they were going to repackage these guys. We had a Grimlock from Rescue Bots that was then repackaged into Dinobot Adventures, and we had a Optimus Primal, which was pretty much Optimus Prime, the T-Rex version, from Rescue Bots 2014 Rescan, that was also repackaged in the Dinobots Adventures line as Optimus Prime T-Rex, of all things. Very original name. But that being said, there wasn't anything to take away from that because, oh wow, we have an actual brand new Optimus Primal mold and a brand new Grimlock mold. Obviously the Optimus Primal based off of his Season 1 design with shoulder cannons and everything like that. I'm actually quite impressed. I don't really go out of my way anymore to get Rescue Bots related or that kind of flavor Transformer product unless it's a really interesting character like a Whirl or a Heat Wave or something like that. But now we're talking Beast Wars. And if we're talking Beast Wars, I can't say no to a mini Primal. So we got Optimus Primal and we got Grimlock. Grimlock's a brand new mold also based off of his Generation 1 design, and does not turn into a motorcycle like the other one, which he kind of just sat down and turned into a motorcycle. So he actually has a robot mode this time. So the kids under the ages of 3 can enjoy a easy to transform Grimlock that isn't just a 2-wheeled motor vehicle. Pretty awesome stuff. I'm excited about that Primal, oddly enough. I'm going to actually have to regularly check the Play School section now when I go into the toy aisle, just so I could pick up this sucker. He looks really cool. Again, it to me, I felt like the reason why this even happened was they were probably planning in 2022 for the Rise of the Beast movie to come out. And as a result, with a Rise of the Beast movie, you'd obviously want to cover all the different demographics and price points and include a Optimus Primal trademark in the Play School aisle. Lo and behold, Rise of the Beast is going to be in 2023, but the product that was planned still has the march forward, and we got the Primal there. So yeah, It was supposed to be these guys, in my thoughts. It ended up being these guys. I'm happy to be wrong because it gave us some brand new molds. Awesome stuff. I'm really excited. Pretty cool. Next up, we have the Transformers Authentics line. And these ones gave us a whole bunch of cool things. The Authentics line has been around since 2017. It pretty much exists to put official Transformer product affordably in places that normally those regions could not afford them. So to give an example, when you go to places like Mexico, South America, and certain Asian regions, you're more likely to find bootlegs of Transformer product than official product because the bootlegs are just more affordable for the local market. So Hasbro pretty much figured out a way, how do we essentially take the Transformer product, somehow whittle it down budget-wise, and give people an opportunity to also participate in owning official Transformers product, and that's the Transformers Authentics line. Now, this stuff at first was showing up in places like Peru and Mexico and different places in South America. Some of the first sightings were in Chile, but these also do show up in the Western world. It shows up in usually Market 6 kind of places, Walgreens, Family Dollar, and now we have some new ones here. We got the Bravo assortment price point, which is the 5-inch figures, which we've already had a whole bunch of Optimus and Bumblebee and Starscream. And now our new one of the Bravo price point of the 5-inch figures, which are $5.99, which is ridiculously affordable, especially in our inflation world that we're entering. We have that of RC. And she looks pretty good for what it is, I'll be honest with you. It's considering the limited amount of parts, pieces, and paint that are put into this, I'm actually impressed. Considering we once lived in a world where RC was probably something that would be very hard to imagine. For $5.99 for a 5-inch figure that gives other people around the world an opportunity to participate and own that character, hey, I can't complain. And the Wheeljack, I'm even more impressed. I'm actually quite surprised. The Alpha price point, which are their 7-inch figures, again, for $9.99 for $10 USD to get a 7-inch giggity Wheeljack figure that looks pretty darn good. I'm actually quite impressed how he looks. That's pretty awesome. Again, for reference, I wrote under it here, Earthrise Wheeljack is 5.5 inches. So on top of that, he's much taller too. So if you feel that your Earthrise Wheeljack doesn't fit in your collection, it might be a little too short. I know that was a problem with the original Generations Wheeljack, sharing the mold with Trax. Here's an alternative. And again, $10. Wow. Considering what deluxes cost today, yeah, that's not bad at all. That is not bad at all. The Authentics line, again, check your Family Dollar, Market 6 related location, Big Lots, stuff like that. You'll usually find them there outside of, let's say, Walmart or Target and stuff like that otherwise. Also, they have the Titan Changer line at the bottom there. These aren't really new product. It's just they pretty much revamped the packaging and made a new store display for it. The Titan Changers used to be hangables. They were the 11-inch figures with simplistic 5-step transformations. These are not brand new toolings. These are not brand new repaints of those toolings from back in 2019. These are just reissues, but again, keep an eye out for it. If it is something you want to get for the kids, $14.99 after taxes, depending on where you live. Not too bad for an 11-inch simple Transformer figure to give a little kid his first cigarette, so to speak, and get him addicted to the robots in disguise. Pretty cool stuff. Again, I dig the Wheeljack and RC. I'm pretty impressed with what they're doing with there. I dig it. It's pretty cool. And again, if it gives other people around the world a chance to become a Transformer fan and own a piece of Transformers and participate in the fandom, hey, I'm all for that too. Next up, we have a whole bunch of Target listings. These come courtesy of Allspark Prime 7, patron of the podcast, friend of the podcast, board member, Discord member, and of course, Target employee. And Allspark Prime just laid on all these listings for us, so we're going to go through these one at a time as best we can and kind of figure out what's going on here. And the first one is a Choppa face, and it is that of a Transformers Buzzworthy Bumblebee Legacy Voyager Dinobot listed here at Target for $31.49. And we don't know what it's going to be, but basing on what Target has done in the past when it comes to repaints and stuff like that from a lot of these beast molds, I mean, we have a Black Arachnia that's a toy accurate, packaging accurate kind of design. We have a supposed Scorponok that's coming down the pipes that's also going to be toy accurate using the Sandstorm sculpt. So they have a listing here for a Dinobot. It's Voyager class. Chances are it's going to probably be that Voyager Kingdom Dinobot. They're going to put that head sculpt that was on the Grimlock mold for the Battle Through Time version, like I'm showing here, as an alternative. This is a quick little Photoshop put together. And maybe they're going to paint it like the figure on the left here, the original toy Dinobot from back in the day. Would be kind of cool if it had the mutant head. I doubt it will have it, but it would be pretty cool to see that too. And they're probably just going to give it that more pinkish hue kind of color scheme. And that'll be that. It'll be kind of, again, the fact that you get alternatives to have like a toy accurate kind of color scheme and mold, or a show accurate kind of color scheme and mold. I like that the Buzzworthy line is giving those options to people, because there's people out there that love that toy, that grew up with those toys, that love those iterations of those characters in toy form, despite the fact that they were kind of drastically different than their show counterparts. Season 1 Beast Wars toys had a major thing with that, where with the exception of like maybe Rat Trap and, you know, Cheetor to an extent, a lot of those characters kind of had the growing pains of what was on the screen to what was being sold. So it is what it is, but it's still pretty cool. I dig it. I hope that it ends up being a really cool color scheme. I'm not saying it's going to be a toy accurate one like I'm showing here, but judging on what's been done in the past already with the Target exclusive Buzzworthy Bumblebee stuff based off of Kingdom Beast Wars molds, probably going to be the case. And again, they already have the tooling. They could just take that Grimlock head, you know, and go to work, and it'll probably look nice. It probably look really, really nice. But hey, if they don't do that and they do like, I don't know, where's it on my desk here? I have it on my desk always. A little McBeast Grimlock. I have him somewhere here. There he is. You know, if they do this guy here with those wacky colors, I don't know. I'll be just as happy. Give me some McBeasts. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. He's buried under all my pens and papers here. But yeah, I still dig it. I hope that it's something interesting, to say the least. Next up, when we got other Target exclusives, we also have Super 7, which does a lot of exclusives through Target. But Target also listed some other stuff that Super 7 has planned. And this goes into, again, with if Rise of the Beast came out this year. And it is that of Super 7 Reaction Beast Wars Wave 7. So I'm just going to go back for a second here. So to remind people, so Super 7's Reaction line, Wave 1, 2, 3, 4, everything has been Generation 1 related. There's 38 different figures as of this recording, and they just finished up Wave 5, which was more celebrating of the movieverse and movie characters and stuff like that. And we don't know what Wave 6 is yet. But through this listing now, through Target, we have an idea of what Wave 7 might be at some point. And it looks like we're going to be getting Beast Wars characters. What's up, Aaron? And as it partakes, it looks like we're going to be getting Optimus Primal, Cheetor, Dinobot, Megatron, and Black Arachnia. So probably this decision was made because in 2022 there was plans for Rise of the Beast to be coming out the summer of this year. Have that cross-sell kind of energy. You know, people go to the movies, they see all these Beast Wars characters, these Beast Wars IPs and trademarks, and then they go to Target, and then they go, hey, you know, when I grew up, I loved those characters. Now I saw the movie, and that reinvigorates my interest in the brand that I loved as a kid, that being Beast Wars, let's say, for these individuals. And then they see these reaction figures of Optimus Primal, Cheetor, Dinobot. And it's these quick purchase kind of things where, yeah, okay, they might be, you know, $17.99 and it's a simplistic action figure, but the argument could be said it's the same kind of people that also buy pop vinyls and the more simplistic kind of stuff. The investment is low. The challenge of the product is low. It's something that they could just kind of hang in their room, or they could bring to the office and put on their desk. And Super 7 does very well with their reaction line, with that market of that kind of throwing back to nostalgia, even with stuff that really didn't have those kind of figures. The only thing I'm curious about is characters like Megatron and Black Arachnia that have really wide kind of designs, and Super 7's reaction line stuff is pretty slim. I'm really curious how they're going to go about it and how it's going to look. But either way, I dig it. I'm probably going to get all of these just because it's Beast Wars and it's the best Transformer series ever made. And I grew up on G1. They also have 2 Target exclusive listings here that are also going to be reaction based, and it's that of a Galvatron Retro exclusive and a Grimlock Blue G2. I posted these 2 on the bottom right here just to kind of give you guys an idea. They're probably going to do, like, I'll just pull this one up. On the middle row on the left there, you have Robot Mode Grimlock. On the middle, in the bottom row on the middle there, you have Dino Mode Grimlock. They'll pick one or the other, or maybe both, who knows, and give them a blue paint scheme, and you got your blue Grimlock G2. And as for the Galvatron, they'll probably do the Galvatron colors here, Toy Galvatron, or Galvatron 2 as some people call it. They'll do something like that. But again, if you're in Target and you want some simplistic but interesting Generation 1 kind of figures, Super 7 has it for you. And we're not sponsored by Super 7. I'm just laying it out there. Next up, and it's the last one that we got here, and it's a listing of a Transformers Generations Legacy Evolution red card exclusive. Now, the red card exclusives through Target so far have been, we had T-Rex from the Kingdom Megatron mold, turned into the Beast Machine's Dinobots character, and then we had Road Rage, which was the repaint of the female Trax version, again, of the Kingdom mold. The rumors that have been going around through different circles that this is going to be an accessory pack, and it is going to be a repaint of the War for Cybertron Siege Deluxe Class Cog into his Grand Maximus equivalency, which, oddly enough, was also called Cog. It had some Japanese names too, but those Japanese names are actually not canon, so I'm not going to count those. But for people who are curious, again, the image that I have up here is a custom done by Alim. And just to give people an idea of what's going on here and how it potentially could look, on the bottom left there is what the original Grand Maximus version looked like. Thank you, Andy Davis. Leave a thumbs up, fellas. 132 watching. Thank you. Thank you. It's probably, they're going to get the most mileage they could get out of these molds, these weaponizers, and these kind of modulator kind of design stuff. And for people that want to have, you know, a complete Grand Maximus based off of the Japanese one that they got, they're going to be missing their little cog component, and so this will be some kind of red card exclusive. Supposedly, it's going to come with accessories also. It's going to be like one of those accessory packs, much like we got with Tricranicus and that of the Centurion drone. So that's the rumor that we have online right now through various reliable sources. So potentially that'll be that. Again, $31.49. What's interesting is that's kind of a Voyager price point. So we'll see what happens, because the Cog is a deluxe. How much extra bells and whistles will be included to justify that price point? We shall see. We shall see. But that's all the info we got on it right now. We will find out in the near future. Also, stuff that we learned about today from Hasbro Pulse. We got the DK2 guard. We finally got to see the official photos of him. We knew about a DK3. We didn't know that this was going to be designated DK2, even though that is what the original black Ironhide was called back in the Diaclone days. It was a DK2 Diaclone listing for the one-box Mitsubishi. No, it was a Nissan, Nissan van. And yeah, looks pretty good. Again, based off of those old classic colors that were then used again during eHobby in 2008 for the Ironhide Protecto Black color scheme. Not much more I could say. We've been talking about it week after week as slowly the images started to come out. So $24.99 pre-orders are available right now at all the different fan channels, including Hasbro Pulse's website itself, and is planned to ship out April 2022, probably just in time for all the Transformer Legacy stuff that apparently has also been breaking street dates from what I've been hearing online and seeing images, but we'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that in your mailbox in April. Looks pretty hype otherwise. If you haven't gotten an Ironhide mold based off of the Earthrise mold, which I understand has been pretty difficult for a lot of people because it was an Amazon exclusive. I didn't get one myself either because Amazon hates Canada, but that's a whole other conversation. So it is what it is. So if you didn't get your Ironhide, this is an alternative, and in all honesty, looks kind of good actually. So getting into what else is going to be for Hasbro Pulse in 2022 now that we know this. So we have our Black Zarek that's going to be shipping out soon. We have already the lift tickets, them showing up for some people. And of course the DK2 Guard. So those ones we do know. But what about the ones that we still haven't seen official images of or boxes or information? Well, the ones that we do know due to Stolen Factory product, we have the Sandstorm there on the left. We got the Night Prowler Cheetor, and we got the Beast Wars Buzzsaw. So those ones we do know. The other ones we don't know is the DK3, which I'm going to take a guess here based off of the Diaclone DK3. It's probably going to be some kind of extensive repaint, maybe a retool, but probably just an extensive repaint of the Trailbreaker Earthrise mold into a blue version, much like the DK3 over here from Diaclone back in the day. And a supposed, again, this is through the different sources, a supposed Cyclonus and his Armada listing. So are we going to get some kind of lighter colored Cyclonus from Kingdom, voted the #1 toy by the fans of 2021? We shall see with that. Maybe a new head sculpt, maybe a new weapon, maybe something, or maybe just, again, a army builder straight up repaint in a light magenta. We don't know, but we shall see. We don't know, but we don't know. And that's it more or less for the news. The only other thing I want to mention is, like I said just a few moments ago, Transformer Legacy stuff has been showing up in retail in Europe. It has been breaking street dates, and slowly will probably be showing up over the next month or so in America. So check your local Walmarts and Targets. They'll probably be showing up. If you're a Walmart or Target that probably has barren shelving, chances are you're due for a restock, and that stuff is probably sitting in the stock room ready to break those street dates. So if you want to get yourself your Ironhides, your Laser Rod Optimus Primes, and then some, keep an eye out for that. Some people have been lucky enough to get it early. Also want to mention, again, if you haven't seen already, Toy Armada Episode 1 of our Transformers Armada segment is live. Go check it out on YouTube, The Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. It is a beautiful channel where we talk a whole bunch of Hasbro and Kenner stuff over the past 30 years of the brand. Really, really good stuff. Again, it's not just Transformers, but if you do want some Transformers, we have the pre-creation stuff of Armada, the nitty-gritty, the deep and dirty of how it all began back in the early 2000 and 2001. Check that out, The Toy Armada with Aaron Archer, who's with us today, I believe. Yes, he is. And again, our sponsors, whether it be Symbiote Studios with the plush. Today is an Optimus Prime day. We're in the Optimus Prime one. Optimus is chilling in the back with us, and we got the Optimus pin. They're nice metal pins. And of course, their t-shirts, their plush, their pins, all the awesome stuff that Symbiote Studios does. Be sure to check them out, symbiotestudios.com. Also, the link is in the description below. Go pick yourself up some nice stuff. Rock out the Transformer t-shirts. And there's way more to come. They already have their brand new Soundwave that's up to purchase. So if you have not picked up Soundwave when he sold out, he is available to pick up. And of course, there's still many more to come. And even more after this. There's a lot of stuff. Let me tell you something, guys. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes at Hasbro and Symbiote Studios for the next plushes for the near future. It is going to be a busy 2022, to say the least, for us collectors of Transformer plush. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot. But yeah, that's more or less it. Again, and also be sure to check out Hasbro's YouTube channel for Transformers. Watch the Bumblebee Cyberverse adventures. And all the other stuff, too. They have some good G1 episodes on there you could catch up on. Might I suggest a Prime Problem That's one of my favorite early G1 episodes. But yeah, that's more or less it. Didn't really get much in the mail this week. I do want to give a shout out to David Cabal for directing me to these. The Beast Wars reissue line. He managed to direct me to these that were on sale. And I wasn't planning on getting these because they were ridiculously overpriced for what they were. But I'm not going to argue with, I think these were $7. So I was like, hey, cool. And then I could kind of compare it to like the old ones. And I'll tell you one thing, though. Here's back in the day, 1997 Circle Bubble Cheetor mint on card for Canadians. Yeah, that's right. That's Zeller's back in the day. $13.47 Canadian. Probably would be still considered expensive even for 1997. That would be about almost $20 today. Still is a cheap deluxe, because what's kind of crazy is by inflation standards, this is probably $20 today. This in Canada is like $34. So it's kind of brutal. What I did notice, because I now was comparing the two. So I like how Cheetor's box art, and this is based off of the Rocky Bubble Kenner version, 1995. And I have actually a carded version of this, but it's in storage. So I just had this one quickly to grab because I was hanging it on the wall. I love the box art, how it's much larger on the original as opposed to this one that was much more tiny. But what kind of sucks is you get a lot more Cheetor art on this one. Ignore the Zeller sticker on his face. But like, look, kind of gets cut off the other one. This one you get to see like more of the hand and everything and the arm. So that old box art kind of thing. And also they're facing different directions. Facing each other there. But still pretty cool. I managed to get this one, the Cheetor, the Optimus Primal, the Megatron. I didn't get the Rat Trap, couldn't find it on the cheap especially. And Tigatron and Scorponok, I'm hearing they're showing up places. I haven't seen them yet, but I'd like to probably... I don't know, I don't own a Tigatron mint on card. I own a loose one. It'd be kind of cool to have a carded Tigatron, even though he never came in a Rocky Bubble. But they put him in a Rocky Bubble, which is kind of funny. But I mean, I dig him. It's a nice kit. It has the little Kenner logo in the corner there. Again, keeping the Kenner brand alive in a lot of ways. So I dig it. It's really nice. Really dig it. Look at all the languages there. My goodness. Got to cover every single language in the world, for this product. But still pretty cool. Still pretty cool. Again, thanks to David Cabal for directing me to these. On the cheap. But that's it, more or less. Didn't get much else. Kept it pretty simple this week in terms of Transformer product entering the collection. But that's it, more or less. So we'll take some super chats for the rest of the night. We still got a good hour and some. And we'll just chill for the rest of the evening and do that. Let's see. I think I saw Larry joined us today, and we also got Aaron Archer who's in here. Got a whole bunch of people. It's pretty cool. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Let's see what some of our people said here. We have 150 people today too. So it's look, it's going to be probably a little crazy in terms of, and I brought it up before. Inflation is probably going to be a bit of an issue for a lot of fans and stuff, because it looks like Hasbro is going to be increasing the MSRP on some products. People were pointing out with, let me just pull it up here. People were pointing out with the DK Guard how it's a deluxe class on Hasbro Pulse, and he's going to be $24.99, which has increased $3 from the original MSRP for even deluxes on the Hasbro Pulse website. So there is kind of an indication that the MSRP is going to slowly start rolling out, and we're going to see an increase in the cost for a lot of Transformers stuff. And it's going to be tough for a lot of people. I literally had this discussion like 2 years ago, and it was just looking at the Siege line and all the stuff that was going on with Siege, where product was smaller and there wasn't as many paint apps and there wasn't as much plastic, but the cost of the product was almost double than what it was back in, let's say, 2010, 2009. So it was kind of crazy. It was kind of crazy looking back at that, and people were going like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Like, it's great." And then 2 years after that, it creeped up even more, the inflation. So it's going to get a little rough, guys. It's going to get a little rough, but what I always suggest, and I know like the big wigs will hate me to say this, but wait for sales. That's probably the best way to go about it. Sometimes you got to speak with your wallet, and you don't want to go broke in this hobby. You know, it's always best to kind of wait for sales, and you don't have to buy stuff at full price. Sometimes you could find those opportunities, you know, couponing, looking for deals. There's always there's always an option. You just got to be smart with it. And don't go broke. Don't go broke in this hobby. You know, try to be smart with it. Don't be all this behind you was done over the past 35 years. You know, this didn't happen overnight. So like, you know, like it's, the G1 stuff, most of this was bought before the turn of the century, you know, before 2000. So it's something that, don't think that I go out and blow money like crazy. Look, you guys see every week I talk about what I buy of Transformers. It's very minimal. I really, you know, it's something that I'm trying to be smart with my purchases, because we're all not rich, you know, so be smart with that, guys. I always want you guys to be good with your money. And that's why I do like the Transformer finance segments, where I want you guys to be smart with your money. And if there's an opportunity that you guys could make money from your hobby and somehow get some of that money back. If you bought like a Perceptor toy for MSRP and now it's like worth $50 and that Perceptor toy is just sitting around gathering dust, I want you guys to get that opportunity to cash that in and make that $50, whether it be on eBay or the secondary market. So that way you could get some of that money back and put it towards something else, whether it be more Transformer toys or paying the rent. And so that's what those finance segments are for. I have a whole playlist. Check in the podcast playlists. I have the Transformer finance segments where I try to keep you guys up to date on some of the secondary market of product. We got a gold super chat from DJKCP with the $10 with the gold super chat. Thank you, DJKCP. Doesn't roll off the tongue, but thank you. Hey, Proto, why is Hot Rod your favorite character of all Transformers? Mine, personally, is Starscream. He has always had such an edgy and fun presence on screen, no matter what he is. What he's in, excuse me. Nostalgia is probably the first answer. You can't see it, but like there is so many Hot Rod figures around my desk, on my table here. Even have on top of my tower. He'll always be my boy. My favorite series is Beast Wars, but I grew up on G1, and my first taste of Transformers was the '86 movie, and Hot Rod was just the coolest thing ever since sliced bread. You know, like he was just awesome. And as a kid, that character spoke to me. And growing up, I wanted to have that Hot Rod toy. I mean, he just looked so cool, you know, with the big yellow spoiler and the flames on the chest. And he actually looked kind of cool in robot mode and stuff. And look at that head sculpt. That's so like Yusha Brave, you know, Obari kind of design for doing robot modes that were robot head sculpts that really wasn't that common in Transformers. So not that I was thinking like that when I was like 3 years old, but I'm pretty sure in the back of my mind I had some kind of way I was breaking it down in my mind. But I love that character, and it's a lot of it has to do with nostalgia, because while he was awesome in the '86 movie, he didn't really there's not too many grand moments in season 3. I mean, Bird and Hardest the Bear is one of the better episodes for him. You know, didn't really have too many grand moments in the Headmaster series. It's mostly a comic book kind of thing with the Marvel books, specifically the Marvel and UK books. That's where he really shines. And of course the '86 movie. But I love him. I think he's a cool design. He's a red robot with yellow. I mean, Proto Man's a red robot with yellow from Mega Man. So something about red robots with yellow. Blaster was my first Transformer. Red robot with yellow. So just something about him. He's just awesome. Hope that kind of answers it a little bit. In terms of Starscream, my favorite Starscream actually is Armada Starscream in terms of character, just because he was kind of like the Dinobot of Transformers Armada. I remember when he made his debut in Armada, I went out of my way to pick up both the Japanese version and the American version of Starscream, just because I thought he was so cool. that design and everything like that, and how he was depiction and his relationship with Alexis, the human character. So really cool version of Starscream. Really like reinvented the character in a different way that I could appreciate. Thank you for the gold super chat, by the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First one to roll out the super chats for the day, DJKCP. We got another question. It comes from Downright Superb. Proto, I just realized that Siege Springer wasn't repainted. What repaint figure would you want from that figure? Are there any other missed opportunities for repaints other than the recents you'd like to see? Yeah, there's, you know, it's funny. There's a lot of molds that sometimes they don't ever see anything. Triple changers are a tough one. I mean, like Springers in the past have been turned into Sandstorms, and that's kind of been the way to go about it. Although a lot of fans would probably want a straight up Sandstorm brand new mold. I think that Springer, honestly, is going to see a repaint. It's not going to be a really glorious one, but it's going to be like a Studio Series 86 premium kind of repaint thing. That's what I think, anyhow. He will see a repaint, just it won't be anything too spectacular. The problem with Springer is he doesn't have a repaint brother. That's the problem. So many characters now kind of have these like baked in repaint brother characters. Like now when you get a Jazz, you could do the Stepper Target Master repaint. You know, you could do, now we have Jackpot is kind of like, you know, associated with that since the Transformers animated version. You know, Bumblebees, look at all the repaints associated with that are built in. If you ever get a new Bumblebee mold, here's all the repaints you could do. If you get a Seeker mold, if you get a Datsun mold, a Lamborghini mold. But then you get Springer, who's a triple changer, and it's like, unless you want to do a extensive retool into Sandstorm, you know, there's not much. You know, they tried. They did like that Rodimus one there with the eHobby Cloud series and stuff. But in general, it's tough to do stuff with Springer. But in terms of molds that never really saw a lot of action, that's a tough one, because now they're really good on making use of that stuff. I know there's got to be something though. There's got to be something. I mean, and I'm not going to go into like the obscure stuff, like let's say like titaniums, where it's like, oh, you know, they never repainted you know, that Grimlock mold in titaniums or something. But there's got to be something. There's got to be maybe some alternators that didn't get repainted proper and everything like that. But I can't really think of anything that could really be too much of a missed opportunity. The only one I could really think of is there's a lot of Rodimus molds, and maybe it's just my favoritism to Hot Rod and Rodimus, but there's a lot of Rodimus molds that could be repainted into Primus. I mean, that's kind of like an easy one. And I always felt like, you know, Hasbro has been wanting to protect that Primus trademark, and they kind of lost it, unfortunately, around Age of Extinction, to the point that when they reissued the Primus toy, they just called it Cybertron. But, I mean, there could have been an opportunity there. You know, just take a Rodimus mold, repaint it like the blue Primus colors from Cybertron, or do like a kind of gold color scheme, but not really GPS and not really chrome. And just call them Primus, you know. Maybe they didn't want to do too many Primuses. Maybe they didn't want to water it down too much like Unicron or something. But, I mean, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. But, again, going back to Springer, I believe the premium, the PF line in Japan, the premium finish line, they're going to do something with Springer. And supposedly we're going to be getting some kind of Studio Series 86 Springer coming, which probably will be a repaint of that mold, if I had to take a guess. So there's going to be something. There's going to be something. I don't know what, but there's definitely going to be something coming. Michael Koo with the super chat for the 5 bones. TF Studio Series 86 Coronation Starscream. They gave him TF Studio Series 86 Hot Rod's hands. Oh, he has an open and closed hands. That's pretty cool. I haven't gotten that yet. Haven't seen it anywhere. Didn't go toy shopping this weekend. Probably won't. So, you know, when I'm home for the weekend. I kind of just enjoy staying home. But that's pretty cool though that he has the open and close hands. Extra little budget, I guess. But again, take that Voyager class, put it in a leader box, give the extra accessories, and give some extra parts and pieces. I mean, that's look at Hot Rod. Hot Rod's a deluxe that's in a Voyager box with extra parts and pieces to justify it. So it makes sense. Makes sense to me. Elves Bleed 57. Do you think we could get toy versions of most of the Beast Wars characters? Well, definition of toy characters would have to be, you know, those more head sculpty kind of things. Give an example like Waspinator, Kingdom Waspinator. What could you really do to that to make it toy version that would justify you wanting to make a second purchase? Not much there. Take the buzzsaw head and throw it on there and call it toy version. People won't chew on that one too much, I don't think. Same thing with, say, Rat Trap. There's not much you could really do. Rhinox, I guess you could do something with Rhinox. You could put that more, different head sculpt on there and give it those more muted kind of colors that it had, because it was much more like I don't want to say a forest green, but like a really vibrant green on the Rhinox. So you could do that, maybe give him a new accessory that has the sword tail that he didn't have originally with the Kingdom one. I guess. There's some, like, again, the stuff like Dinobot. I'll pull it up again, but, stuff like Dinobot is a prime example of how different the character model was from the final product in terms of, like, the fine details and everything like that. And that's why you could get away with stuff like that. Same thing with Black Arachnia. Same thing with even stuff like Scorponok to a mild degree in the head sculpt, although Scorponok's a loose one in a lot of ways. But like stuff like Cheetor, what is a toy accurate Cheetor? You're going to give him like blue eyes, red eyes, to be like accurate to this boy right here. Like there's not much that you could really do. Like a box art accurate Tigatron, take the mutant, golden disc Tigatron, put him back in those colors there of the Siberian tiger and call it a day. There's not a lot of people that I think would make that second purchase based on that mild tooling, where at least the ones like, let's say, a Dinobot or the Black Arachnia, I could see people paying those because it's extensive. There's a lot more going on there that's really different from the original. So I don't think they'll do them all, but I think there's certain characters that you could do. Like Pterosaur is another one that's rumored. Pterosaur's colors in his toy model are very different from his show model. A lot of purples and pinks on there and, some green spots, so that I could see too. Isn't Amazon getting a Springer? Supposedly in the Wreckers line, but we don't have more information on that. Those are just listings right now, unfortunately, that we got from JT Prime 17, if I remember correctly. I believe so. Paul M with the super chat. How you doing, Paul? Thank you for the $5 super chat. Was there a Shattered Glass after G1 like Shattered Glass Beast Wars? Well, see, the Shattered Glass stuff is kind of touch and go when it comes to continuity and timeline. A lot of it was written by Jesse Witherich and Pete Sinclair and the guys at BotCon and Fun Publications, with little spatters here and there of other people. There is a Shattered Glass Beast Wars to a degree. I wish I could reach over and grab all the Fun Publication Collector Club magazines that had the comics in the back with Ultra Mammoth and some of the others that came from that continuity. There is a Shattered Glass Beast Wars, though, but it's very few and far between in terms of characters. It's pretty limited. What we have with Shattered Glass now through the IDW comics, at least it's short-lived in the time being because of what's happening with IDW, but with the IDW comics, that's probably going to be our Shattered Glass continuity moving forward. It's kind of like a soft reset or a soft reboot. So that's probably the Shattered Glass that you'll have to focus on for now. And if they decide to do Shattered Glass Beast Wars versions, sure, a lot of them are deep cuts, unfortunately. Like, there's not a lot of Shattered Glass Beast Wars characters, and the ones that do exist didn't really have good toy representation through BotCon, so they're not as well known. Most of them were just comic book only characters, some of them only appearing in a couple panels. So to repaint a whole product in retail or on Hasbro Pulse and put it out there for the few people that remember those 3 panels, I don't know. That's a risky one. It'd have to be a really good mold, let's put it this way. How many times could you repaint that Cheetor mold or something like that? It'd have to be a really good mold to really entice them, I guess, in a lot of ways to do it. But Shattered Glass, look, Shattered Glass is a line that Hasbro will welcome with open arms, because it's literally a line that gives character to repaints, that lets you sell a repaint And people go, well, it's based off the Shattered Glass version. Much like how no one complains about a Thundercracker repaint or a Skywarp repaint, because those are those characters in those colors. It's not just a shallow repaint, CR repaint segment that we talked about not too long ago, a couple days ago. But Shattered Glass gives birth to that, where here's all these molds that have all these baked in repaints that are based off of characters because of the Shattered Glass universe, and then Hasbro could constantly dip into that. You have a Sideswipe mold. You could give it those black and turquoisey kind of seafoam colors, and here's your Shattered Glass Sideswipe. You have, I'm looking at the Bakon stuff here. You know, like, there's just so many. There's just so many that you could do. I mean, one day we're going to get that Cyclonus mold from Kingdom, and we'll get it in Shattered Glass colors that are those Hot Rod kind of color schemes. Give him his, you know, a Target Master weapon included with it. Take one of those Target Master weapons that we got from Siege, and the rest is history. You know, that it's so easy to do, and Hasbro welcomes that kind of stuff because it gets more mileage out of those molds that they put so much time into developing. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see way more Shattered Glass in the future. So repaints don't just have, like, you get a mold in 2022, you're going to see repaints of it for the next 5 years. Like, it's not something that's just going to, like, disappear. Oh, you're going to get repaint for, like, the next year, maybe the year after that. I mean, we'll see. There's stuff, like, I remember just seeing through Hasbro Pulse and Bakon, both of them, you're seeing repaints of molds that are, like, 5 years old. So we're going to see plenty of action from these molds. It's not the end. You know, it's far from the end. Downright Superb with the super chat. Proto, who is your personal favorite new TF character created in the last 10 years? In the last 10 years, so that would be up to 2012, I'd have to say Strong Arm is one of them from Transformers Robots in the Skies 2015. I really like her. She's an interesting new character that was created. Who else was really cool? I'm going to try to go with something that has a new trademark IP. Like, obviously, Strong Arm exists all the way back from Energon and was used on a Minicon. But, like, a new version of that character that's really cool. And not just, like, you know, Cheetor or Hot Rod in Transformers Cyberverse. That's pretty much Cheetor or Hot Rod from their other iterations. Because I like Hot Rod in Cyberverse, but I don't consider that a new character, really. But definitely Strong Arm. She's definitely up there. Love Strong Arm. She's a really cool character. RID had a lot of new characters, but a lot of them didn't stick out for me. But Strong Arm was definitely one of them. Let me think of one from... I really like... what's it called? Thunder Howl from Cyberverse. He was pretty cool too. Kind of pretty much Silverbolt. I'm pretty sure they would have called him Silverbolt if they could have. Who else? There's not much. We didn't get a lot of new characters. It's been a lot of G1 and the same in the past couple of years. What about some toy-only characters? Some of those fossilizers, maybe? I don't know, but I'll go with Strong Arm. Strong Arm for sure. If I had to pick one, she's definitely on top there. I like that. I like a new female character that is not like how we've had other female characters in the past. Cool design. You know, I dig her. I dig her a lot. Really cool. And she has tons of merch, tons of figures. She doesn't just have the one figure. She has tons of figures, tons of merchandise. So if you're a fan of that character, there's a lot that you could collect just of Strong Arm. There's got to be at least, I mean, no joke. I'm looking at just my little ensemble of Strong Arm stuff. There's got to be at least like 14 different strong Arm pieces of paraphernalia and eraser toppers and all kinds of little things, little PVC figures. Cool character. I dig her a lot. Doesn't get enough love. Michael Koo with the super chat for the 5 bones. Thank you, Michael. When the new Transformer comic books are published, does publishers get to reprint all the IDW books? No, they do not. What you're probably comparing it to what happened with Dreamwave. What happened is when Dreamwave went bankrupt, Hasbro acquired Dreamwave's assets because Dreamwave went bankrupt. And Dreamwave was, because they were bankrupt and Hasbro had those assets, they were able to license those assets to, like here, I can even pull up some of the reissue books that they did. Let me pull out one out here. So Dreamwave's books were able to be reprinted by IDW using their assets. This is the Energon book, oddly enough, around the time when they went bankrupt. Actually, probably it ends right in the last issue. Anyways, Hasbro licensed those assets to Dreamwave, to IDW, excuse me, to then put out Dreamwave's material. IDW isn't going bankrupt. They're just losing the Transformer license and the G.I. Joe license. They're still going to have the other Hasbro stuff and My Little Pony and everything. And that doesn't mean that all the IDW stuff that's done is now relinquished. It's still their stuff. It's still stuff that they have the rights to. And at some point, they might license it out. It gets a little dicey, but at the end of the day, not yet. Let's put it this way. Whoever's going to get the comic books next, I don't want to say who, but whoever's going to get them next will do their own thing and march forward. And then 5 years into it, if IDW wants to sell those assets to that company and they feel that there's money to be made in making collections of those books, then they'll do it. But that's something that's still to be seen, pretty much. It's it's a whole other kind of extra layer of business that, again, IDW is not going bankrupt. They have financial problems, but they're not going bankrupt. They're just kind of losing some of the assets to stuff that they had. So here's the War Within one. That was a reprint done in a more manga kind of style. A Dreamwave right there. I try to collect these whenever I can, if I ever see them on the cheap, just because they're nice iterations, and I love War Within. War Within's a top 5 Transformer comic book series for me. I love everything Dreamwave did. Despite the shenanigans that happened with Dreamwave and everything, with Pat Lee and finances and too many Porsches bought, I still love everything they did. And Pat Lee was a nice guy. I met Pat Lee multiple times. You know, I'm going to quote someone, but I'm not going to say his name, but Pat Lee's an amazing guy. Just don't lend him $5. That's the quote, but he's an awesome dude. Downright superb. Proto, in how many decades will we be able to 3D print out action figures we want at home? A lot sooner than you think, in all honesty. I always compare 3D printing to CD burning in a lot of ways. How... You know what? Hold on, let me just pull these up here. Because I always keep them under my desk. Is this one empty? This one's probably empty. Yeah, this one's empty. It's one of my... It's shaped like a soccer ball. It's an old CD holder. Back in the day, I used to do a lot of CD burning. CD burning first was only available commercially to companies to be able to make their CDs on a professional manner. And then when it started to reach the commercial world into the home market, 1997, 1998, when it started to show up in every single tower that was purchased around 2000, 2001, before you know it, it was everywhere. You could go to Family Dollar, buy a spindle of blank CDs, burn everything you want. And that happened over a span of 10 years. The moment 3D printing becomes standardized in every household, much like how, 1997, not everyone had the internet. By 2001, 2002, it became so cheap to get the internet because of cable services and stuff. It becomes a standardized thing in the house. The second we start have 3D printing and standardizing in houses, then we'll probably see a larger growth in that, and companies will start focusing on doing 3D printing as a form of monetization. But the only thing that I think is holding back 3D printing is there's an exodus of people from desktop computers and laptops and more into devices. And 3D printing is very reliant on desktops and laptops. So because there's less of an install base of that and more of this and tablets, I think that that's going to kind of slow it down until there's that marriage where somehow maybe tablets could work with 3D printers properly and really could work in synergy. Then maybe we could also see that. Let me tell you something downright. It's a huge discussion. I know quite a few people that are ridiculously talented people at 3D printing. Mikey and Louie, who are regulars in the stream, two ridiculously talented people with 3D printing. I actually have some stuff for the patrons in the future that I was planning to do as a giveaway, and then I was going to do it as a gift for the upper tier patrons. But then when the big V happened and stuff, it kind of delayed everything. And when the big V is kind of over, I'm going to do a little package deal for a whole bunch of stuff with 3D printing stuff I've been working on. But needless to say, I do see it being something in the future, but I think it didn't speed up as fast as I was hoping, because 3D printing started to become a thing, and then desktops left the home environment and laptops left the home environment, and everyone started adopting iPhones and iPads and smartphones instead. And because that happened, it slowed down the growth of 3D printing. And 3D printing still became kind of a niche thing in a lot of ways, you know? Started to become a niche thing. But that's kind of my take on it. I mean, I feel that it's going to grow, but it's really slow. It's really slow. It is not looking good right now. And I know that Hasbro at one point was looking to do stuff with 3D printing. I remember when I went to HasCon back in 2017, they had a whole booth in the Marvel section where they were talking about the future of 3D printing, and like, you know, they were going to license out to fans and stuff that if they like their ideas or products, they could work in synergy together and do 3D printing. And they were talking about that with My Little Pony and stuff. And that was in 2017. And all of that kind of slowly disappeared. The install base of iPhones and stuff like that started to become one for one, where more people were messing with their iPhones and their iPads than a laptop or a desktop. People weren't asking, you know, they pay, look, Hasbro pays attention to what is being sold out of an iPhone store or an Apple store, you know, and how are people going to engage with a 3D printer if they don't have the proper tools? It's kind of like if you're trying to get DVD players to be a thing, but then we live in a world where everyone's getting rid of their TVs. How are you going to get DVD players to be a thing if they don't have a television? Yeah. So I hope that kind of answers that a little bit. Media Max with a $2 super chat. You watch Nova Scotia weatherman Frankie McDonald? No, I don't know why I'd watch the weather on an area that I don't live in. I'll open up my phone right now for a moment. But just to give some Americans an idea of how cold it is today, although it wasn't too bad today. I live in Montreal, so it's not too bad at least, but it's minus 16. Minus 16, not too bad. Feels like minus 21. It was windy this morning when I went to do groceries. It's Canada. It's cold. I prefer summer. Some might say that I'm a baby because I don't like winter, but I prefer summer. I prefer going out, hanging out with my friends, playing sports. I prefer that. Long walks where I don't have to be all like, ooh, you know. But no, I don't know that weather, man. I don't really watch the news that much. Once in a while, I'll check in on the news, but I'm not a television news kind of person. I find that the world is too negative, and there's too much negative stuff going on in the world, and I find that the more you just watch the news, the more it's just you're looking at the problems in the world rather than the solutions. Because people will more likely click on something negative than something positive. I don't want to go on that rant, but, you know. That's just how I feel. I'm going to read a non-super chat because it looks like someone in need. Pedro Morez. Hey, Proto, I'm depressed today and I want to leave my country and go to Canada. What's wrong, brother? What is wrong? We have Sheriff Leif giving $5 to the super chat with no question. Sheriff Latif, ask a question, brother. I don't mind people giving me money for super chat, but also ask a question. Ask a question, my friend. You don't have to super chat again. Just ask it again. You know? We still got 40 minutes left in the live stream tonight. Oh, here we go. Hey, Proto, sorry for the message. Didn't send. Just saying I got Shattered Glass, Soundwave, and Blaster on the way. Good advice. Thank you. Oh, you got the 2-pack. Very good, my friend. You know what, though? I'm telling you, you're going to not regret purchasing that. That's going to be... There's certain items that I know will never get reissued. You know, they'll never, like... And those items that'll never get reissued, they'll always hold their value. You know, like this girl over here. See that girl over there? That's G1 Minerva. And I've always said hundreds of times, I would love it if it got reissued. Because that way, people would be able to enjoy that toy. And that toy... I know people who have cars that are not worth as much as that toy. You know? And I want people to be able to enjoy it. And it's not like it's some kind of, you know, difficult mold that Hasbro doesn't have. So hopefully one day we'll get a reissue of the original G1 Minerva and everyone could enjoy it. And I don't care if it affects the value of that one that I own. I'm not planning on selling it anytime soon, so I don't care about its secondary market value. It's kind of like how there used to be G1 Stepper, which was the black repaint of Jazz. And that toy used to go for like $200, $300, $400, $500. And then when the reissue came out, that market went, you know, it went in the toilet. And I owned an original Generation 1 Stepper that I bought for, I want to say $250 from BotCon 2003, I want to say, back in the day. I think that was Detroit. I don't remember. It's so long ago. But I didn't care when they did the reissue, because to me, I was like, hey, Jaws D now could get one cheap. You know, like that was the first thing that popped in my head. Hey, my friend could get this figure cheap now, so he doesn't have to spend crazy money to also enjoy it. That's the way I want it, you know? I want people to be able to enjoy that character, that mold, you know? And not have to break the bank and take out a mortgage loan or something, you know? So yeah. I'm glad you got it, brother. I'm happy for you. Tom Laney, this goes with the 3D printing. Why doesn't Hasbro make fillers for their figures like third-party companies do? Legs, arms seem like pretty good for third-party. Yeah, but here's the thing. That would be Hasbro admitting that their product has a flaw. They have done fillers in the past. Literally, I'm going to get it right now. You know, they have done fillers in the past, aka Unicron, you know, but I wouldn't even call them fillers, just more like screw hole covers. But at the same time, it's a minority market. Like they're putting out a product that is made in the, you know, 20,000s. And for them to make fillers, it would have to be a made on demand kind of thing. They'd have to have a good 3D printing kind of system set up. I think they're just not there yet, nor do they feel it's important. You know, to make fillers for the insides of wrists and stuff for robot modes and legs. Even me, I wouldn't. If I was steering the ship, I don't think it would be too important to do that. And at the same time, I know that there's third-party guys that are doing it, and if I was Hasbro, I'd be like, let them do it. You know, it's something that there's a market for them to make money, and there's no risk to us. Because if we get into it, there's a risk that we invest all this time, energy, hire people, get the machines made, the factories, the whole thing. It's a whole thing just to fill in the back of the legs of a G1, you know, Earthrise figure that's a little hollow. It's a lot of millions of dollars to invest for a little bit more of customer satisfaction for a product they already paid for. You know, that's more of an apology than it is a product. You know what I mean? So that's where it gets a little dicey with the business side of it. Alden Tolbert with the $2 super chat. Imagine if a crossover between TFA and TFP. The question is, if it was a crossover, are we going to have CG going into the cartoon 2D world of Derek Wyatt? Or are we going to have the cartoon 2D world of Derek Wyatt going into the CG world of Transformer Prime? You know, that's the real question. You know, a lot of times when you have those crossovers, you know, there's that kind of like shared aesthetic I think the only time they've ever done something like that was Ninja Turtles. They did the 1987 cartoon, the Fred Wolf cartoon, went into the CG world of the Nickelodeon cartoon, and they kind of shared that world together. So it's actually TMNT did that a few times because they did Turtles Forever also, which was fantastic. But they all kind of shared their style with that one. They kept their style. It would be cool though. You know why? Because it'd give us more Transformers animated. And that's what everyone wants. More Transformers animated. Tom Laney with the membership question. Transform our figures. Would you transform our figures and would display nice with legs and arm fillers to fill the gaps? Well, again, third party's already doing it. People are buying from third party. I don't think Hasbro wants to put the time and energy and effort into something that, in all honesty, I don't think will be worth the money. Is the juice worth the squeeze from the orange, so to speak? I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's not worth the squeeze. Downright Superb Proto, are there any good Transformer novels? A traditional book. Ghosts of Yesterday is not bad. Little too much on the human side. Does give a little bit of character development to Barricade, who had like no character development in the movie stuff. The Covenant of Primus, sure, but that has pictures in it also, so I don't know. Not a lot of good Transformer novels, unfortunately. What was the other one? Exodus by, what's his name there? Alex Irvine. That was okay, I guess. Wasn't that great. I'll go with Ghosts of Yesterday for movie stuff, even though movie stuff isn't the best for continuity and story. I mean, there's a lot of those Ladybird books and stuff. Let me just pull up a few of them. You guys are making me go to the bookshelf today. You know, Project Brain Drain. You know, the Choose Your Own Adventure books. You got Autobot Alert. Where's my Hot Rod one? I think there's a Hot Rod one here too. Ah, there's the Hot Rod one. The Invincibility Factor. Look at that one. Pretty cool. Find Your Fate Junior. Actually, these have drawings in them though. Look at that! Look at that toy accurate Hot Rod. Look at that head sculpt. Those were guys that were probably provided the toys, and were told like, here's your frame of reference, and they got those. But again, like in terms of traditional books, Transformers is more of a comic book thing. If you want to find good stories. The books that I read that are traditional novels are usually more fantasy stuff. I really love the Dragonlance stuff, and I kind of go more towards that. Literally on my phone, no joke, I have an app that right here. It's called Manga Storm CBR. It's not just for manga though, and literally on my Google Drive, I have a whole bunch of books queued up on it so that I could read them. Not on my phone, though. It's also attached to my tablet, and I read a lot of books before I go to bed. And Dragonlance stuff is some of my favorite that I like to read. Or a good biography. Bret Hart's book, Ken Dryden's The Game, one of my favorite books I ever read. Mick Foley's Have a Nice Day. A lot of really good books. But Transformers, unfortunately, in the book department, you're better off with comics. Again, Ghosts of Yesterday was good. Exodus was Covenant of Primus is more of a picture book, I like to call it. And even then, it's good, but it's not great, you know? So I hope that answers it a little bit. I have like a sea of books here, but a lot of them aren't really. It's more comics that are kind of the good stuff, you know? Unfortunately. Elves Bleed 57. Do you like the CW DC shows in the one episode of one style or another? I really like the HBO DC stuff. I really like Peacemaker. I'm big on superhero parody. I love superhero parody. Peacemaker it scratches that itch for that kind of stuff. And being a wrestling fan, and I like John Cena, not as a wrestler so much, but as a person, He's a kind of a cool dude. So, I'm liking that. The other CW DC stuff, not feeling it. I know it sounds. I love the Flash. I watched CW Flash, and as someone who is a seasoned Flash comic book reader, I was just kind of like, there's not going to be surprises for me in this. It's one of those things, kind of like leaving a Spider-Man movie and going, wait a minute, Gwen Stacy dies. It's So, and Green Arrow didn't do it for me. Batwoman didn't do it for me. It's not for me at all. It's not for my market. Let's put it that way. My demographic. Some shows are just not for certain demographics. They're certain shows. They're made for a very specific audience, and when they're made for those specific audiences, if they're not successful, that goes back to, well, you made it for a specific audience. So when you do shows, you got to kind of have to be more broad. You can make fun of the Michael Bay movies all you want, but they went for a broad audience, and it brought in the cashola. So that's the most important thing, is sometimes you got to go for a broad audience. When stuff is super successful and a brand is successful, then you could have those niche shows on the side that are made for specific demographics that could find success. And while that mainstream one that's more broad brings in the cash, there's tricks to do it. But a lot of the DC stuff I'm not feeling. Even the Marvel stuff. Even the Marvel stuff, I was such a big comic book reader, and still am to this day, that if I'm going to take the time aside to really sit down and watch a lot of these shows and binge them, which I really don't have a lot of time, it's got to be good. Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, I took the time aside for that because people that I really trust were like, yeah, I understand you skipped XYZ in this and you didn't really watch that, but please, Daniel, watch this. You'll like it. And I like that stuff. And these are people I trust when they tell me, bro, you got to watch this. Jaws D is one of those people that when he tells me, you got to watch this. There's Jaws D, hey, Daniel, I like this thing, but I don't know if it's worth your time. And then there's no, you got to watch this. So, there's certain things that I do take the time to watch, but I'm lucky that they kind of also are one episode a week. So I only have to dedicate 30 or 40 minutes of my life to it. But I don't have time to go through, to binge something, unfortunately. And that's why I give shows a chance. I give them 5 or 6 episodes, and then after a while I just go, I'm going to put that time elsewhere. If I told someone, yeah, man, I totally just watched all of Arrow, and yet I never watched Reboot or Shadow Raiders or something much better. I just recently saw, people are going to laugh, I recently saw Sausage Party, the Seth Rogen movie, and totally wrote it off when it first came out. I was like, it looks stupid. Sat down and watched it. It was on, I think it was on Much Music, or Much, which is a Canadian channel, uncensored too. And what a fantastic movie. If they would have made a Food Fighters movie for adults, Food Fighters, an obscure toy line, it would have been that. Love that movie, Sausage Party. Very good. Very, very, very good world building, and a lot of sight gags and deep lore. I dig it. My kind of movie, despite all the perverseness in it and stuff, and crude humor. Good stuff. Michael Koo with the super chat for $5. Do you think Hasbro will release Starscream secret version, Lucky Draw, or Ghost Starscream for the Legacy one? I think a Ghost Starscream is going to happen sooner or later. It's just a matter of when. That's something. A Ghost Starscream is such a, I'll use the term killer app. It's such a killer app release that if HasCon was still a thing, he would be a HasCon exclusive. I'm pretty sure there will be a Ghost Starscream. They're just waiting for the right opportunity because it will sell ridiculously well. There's Ghost Starscreams of other molds. I own pretty much every other Seeker jet at some point had a clear version. It's going to happen at some point. Rodimus Power toy unboxing, posting the Grimlock little thingy. Welcome, Rodimus Power. Tom Laney with Core Class, it just seems to sit and hit. It just seems to sit They have hit here and there. ID core class Soundwave, I'm afraid, if Legacy Core does not do any good, we may not get more of the Pretender-based ones. Well, that's what I was saying. Out of all the stuff that I saw of Kingdom, core class was the only stuff that was lingering. And of the stuff that was lingering, it was either Rat Trap or Dracodon. Dracodon, my goodness. Dracodon, the repaint of Vertebrake from the core class. Dracodon, I saw 3 full pegs of just Dracodon, and that's it. No other Kingdom toys. And I was going, that was a lot of cases of Kingdom toys, of Dracodon, that clearly, man, I don't know. It's a cheap price point, and sometimes those cheap price points don't work out. People want the large stuff. The decoy armors, I keep bringing this up, guys, but the decoy armors didn't sell well. The weaponizer stuff didn't sell well. They constantly are looking for what's that cheap price point that we could kind of post and do that kind of stuff. I'm worried about that too. I want more Pretender stuff as much as you. I love Pretenders. Well, she's in the way, but the other Master Force stuff is there. I love Pretenders. Love them. Love them, love them, love them. Give me a brand new Metal Hawk. Give me a brand new Lander, aka Landmine. Give me all of those. Give me them all, baby. Put them in the deluxe price point. Then make it happen, you know? We got a gold super chat from Timmy K. Poindexter Jr. Esquire. Hey, Proto of Manliness. Sorry I'm late to the podcast. Well, that's always what the replays are for, my friend. After the podcast is done, we put it on private. We clean it up for the upload. And then you're able to watch it again. Gonna rewind from the start, from the beginning. What's for dinner tonight? I don't know. What am I going to have tonight? I bought pasta gnocchi. Gnocchi's like the little pasta that has the mashed potato in it. Probably going to make that tonight. That's what I'm probably aiming for. I got to get some concentrated carbs before I work out. So I'm probably going to do that. Aside from that, that's probably about it. Just red pasta, red sauce pasta with gnocchi. Take that, work out a little bit, take a shower, do some reading, and then go to bed tonight. I know that there's the Royal Rumble tonight, but I'll probably just watch it in replay and find out who won and who's going to WrestleMania. Hope that answers your question, my friend, and thank you for the gold super chat. And I guess you're going to watch from the beginning. Go back and enjoy. We got a super chat for 2 bones from Sean Pye with the Autobot logo as his avatar. Name Transformer characters who need a new toy. How about Botanica? How about she gets a toy? I'd like Botanica to get a toy finally. She's long overdue. To get a new toy, I want to see with that Override / Nitro Convoy that supposedly we're going to get a new toy. Who else should get a new toy? Who needs a new toy? Who needs a new toy? Who needs a good update? A really good update. Well, you know what? Hasbro's been doing a good job with all the G1 stuff, so I'm going to jump in the G2 and say, like, you know, let's get some G2 characters. You know, give me some of those Laser Cycle guys. You know, like, obviously, supposedly Road Rocket is going to be happening. Supposedly. But we'll see. You know, supposedly it's going to be a retool of RC from Legacy, the deluxe class. But give me Road Pig. You know, maybe do the Laser Rod Jazz that never happened, the Laser Rod Soundwave that never happened. Those will be, you know, those are going to be Generation Selects exclusives. Give me some of those GoBot G2 Spy Changer characters. You know, do some of those. Like, take the Sideswipe mold, turn it into that Optimus Prime G2 GoBot that turned into a Lamborghini. There's a lot of cool ideas. There's a lot of cool ideas that could be done. Then you get into Beast Wars. Pick your character. Give me a brand new K9. Give me a brand new Wolfang. Give me a brand new Baboom mold, you know? Where's my Polar Claw we were promised? That never happened for a Kingdom, you know? There's plenty. There's so many. Then you get into Armada. Oh, man. Get into animated. Give me some new animated toys. Pick your poison, brother. There's so many. There's so many. Rodimus Power Toy unboxing. Hey Proto, I have since 2 days. Black Zarek. My question for you: 1, have you get yourself one? 2, Will you be skipping the Titans? And second, have you have a lice dislike? Oof. Okay, I guess what you're trying to say is, did I get Black Zarek? A buddy of mine picked it up for me, so I am going to be getting it. I just have to get it from him from when it comes out. Again, Hasbro Pulse stuff is very difficult, so I usually get my friends in the States to pick it up, and then I'm able to get it through them ridiculously cheaper through shipping that way. So shout out to Jason. Thank you for getting me Black Zarek. Yes, I am getting Black Zarek. Do I skip Titan classes? I try not to. I never got the Predaking one, primarily because the only time I ever saw him was quickly once on the shelf, and that was that. Usually I wait for sales with the Titan classes because I think they're ridiculously overpriced in Canada. So I try not to. If I have to say one that I didn't like, again, I never got to mess with Predaking, so I don't know. Probably the weakest of the bunch would probably have to be maybe the first, but because he was the first, then I would have to say Metroplex. Fortress Maximus was fantastic. Devastator did what he had to do, and it did it perfectly. Trypticon was good too. Omega Supreme is fantastic. I could go on and on. Scorponok is fantastic. I don't have the arc yet, oddly enough. I messed with a friend's arc, but I don't have the arc yet, so I can't give my opinion on that one. But it looks really cool, so I can't imagine that would suck. I don't want to say that I dislike Metroplex. I still think Metroplex is awesome too, but he's probably, out of all the Titans we've gotten thus far, probably the weakest. Probably. We'll get a new Metroplex. Make up for it one day. We will get a new Metroplex and everything will be fine. All right, let's scroll through all the other questions. Downright Superb. Proto, how do you think Beast Wars Dinobot would have behaved during the G1 Great War era? Considering how much honor he has, he would not have gotten along with Megatron and Starscream. I'm telling you. And let's say size isn't an issue either. Let's say he was like a full-size Generation 1 character. Autobot Decepticon. I think he probably would have defected to the Autobots at some point. I think he probably would have measured the situation and would have saw that the Decepticons would shoot each other in the back first chance they get. And I mean, look, what the episode Maximal No More, he defected back to the Predacon. Spoiler for anyone who hasn't watched a 25-year-old Transformer series, the best one. He defects back to the Preds and then realizes it was a big mistake because Megatron will shoot you in the back first chance he gets. And all he would have to do is look at what Starscream is doing with Megatron literally on a daily basis, and he would have been like, screw this, I'm going to Team Autobot. So I think he wouldn't have been there very long. He would have been on the Autobot side because he would have known it's the winning side. And he would have probably, been friends with, some of the more interesting humans. I could see Dinobot, relating with the human samurais or relating with martial artists or stuff. Meeting in real life Scott McNeil and wondering why they both sound alike. Who knows? Tom Laney says, I need a Predaking. As do I. Never got Predaking. I have the original Predaking. Oh, you can't see him. I have the original Predaking. I have the reissue Predaking. I have the Transformer Prime Predaking. I don't have that Predaking. Only saw him once in retail. And I blinked and I missed it. Downright Superb says, Proto, I didn't realize that Legacy Laser Prime was a leader. Yes, it was. It's an extensive retool of the leader Optimus from Earthrise. What does the trailer do? Not much, unfortunately. Not much. The original trailer had a whole bunch of gimmicks and little disc shooters and everything. Unfortunately, the new trailer is just a base. Unfortunately, they didn't do much with it. Will be compatible with the Earthrise Micromaster base. That I don't know. I don't have it in person. I don't know. Does anyone see if it has the little road pieces that attach and everything? I don't think I saw any mention of that, though. It would suck if it doesn't have a I guess, they have to keep the gimmick going if they want to, but, Legacy's a new trilogy, a new thing. They kept the gimmick within the War for Cybertron stuff because it's 3 together. But since Legacy's a new thing, maybe they don't have to keep that anymore. Now it's Energon weapons, combining Energon weapons, We're in the Transformers Superlink Energon era of weapons. Tom Laney, Predaking and Metroplex I missed out on. Well, Metroplex, that's the one that's probably the most valuable to people because they want to get a Metroplex, even though there's 3 different versions of them that you could pick up too. But I'd wait, man. I get a feeling, look, we're going to get that Cybertron one that we're rumored for getting with Legacy. But at some point, we're going to get a G1 Metroplex again. They're going to revisit it. They're going to create that gap from, what was it, 2013 when that first one came out, or 2014 or 15? I don't remember. It's so long ago. They're going to have that nice 10-year gap, and then they could put out a new one. And everything will be fine and dandy like cotton candy. Michael Koo with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Michael, for the $5 super chat. Any chance that Beast Wars Scorponok is actually Beast Wars Sandstorm? No. Beast Wars Sandstorm is actually a character called Scorpius. That was one of the original creations of Primus that even predate the original 13. In the Beast Wars cartoon continuity, which is the G1 continuity, oddly enough, it's all kind of intermingled. Simon Furman wrote a story that explains that Primus, before he created the original 13, he tested creating life with these zodiac signs, lioness and all of this, and Scorpius was one of them, and Scorpius was one of those original creations. He survived through all the different stuff going on Cybertron, ended up creating the guise of Sandstorm, his Beast Wars counterpart, and then worked up the ranks, became leader of the Predacons on Cybertron while everything was going on during the Beast Wars on planet Prehistoric Earth. Completely separate character. Just happens to also kind of look like Scorponok. But whole different lore and history and everything like that. Even his Cyber Bee in his hand, that Cyber Bee is actually the spark of one of his long dead friends that he's keeping alive in that Cyber Bee shell. There's a whole bunch of deep lore with that Sandstorm. And if you own the Generations Sandstorm, or the Generation Select Sandstorm, you're technically owning the very first creation of Primus. He created a whole bunch of them, but that's the only one that ever got a toy. So that's technically the first, even before Prima. So, little fun fact with that one. Alice Trapped, I was disappointed by Predaking. Strongly feel that it should have been more faithful. Razorclaw does barely anything for combining mode. G1, he did most of the work. Yeah, I'd agree with that. He was definitely the centerpiece. Kind of hard to see. He's up there. I don't want to move the camera too much, but I never got the mess with it, unfortunately, so I don't know. I apologize. I can't give my 2 cents, unfortunately. One day I will get them, and then I'll be able to give my opinion. There's a mold, by the way, that never got repainted or retooled. That mold. I guess Hasbro couldn't think of anything to do with that one. Eric Braley with the $5 super chat. Oh, here we go. He didn't attach it. He just paid the money. Eric says here, what's the craziest thing you'd like to see in Legacy? Craziest thing? Craziest thing would again be Botanica. I know I keep saying Botanica. It's just because I want to figure finally of that character. And BotBots would have easily been a place for it with all those plants, but it didn't happen. Craziest idea? I don't know. Something from Kissplay would be crazy. Mind you, Kissplay had Kremzeek in it, and we're getting an Energon monster. So I think maybe we're getting a little bit of we're getting a little Kissplay even in Legacy, if it is what I think it is. I don't know, the Legion from Kissplay, that would be a crazy idea with his penis tongue. I don't know. That'd be the craziest thing. More realistic crazy thing, I don't know, DevCon. Give us a DevCon figure. Give us Headmaster RC done better. Give us... What would be crazy? I don't know. What definition of crazy? Give us really obscure repaints, like I said. Give us like those repaints of those Spy Changers or Robot Master repaints. I don't know. There's a lot of crazy ideas. But then there's the part of me like, oh, but then the business side, it wouldn't sell well if you did that, So, I don't know. There's a lot of Energon molds that you can kind of do crazy repaints out of. I'll go with Kiss Play. Do some Kiss Play. Because that's about as crazy. I love Kiss Play, by the way. I got a whole Kiss Play section up there. All my Kiss Play stuff. Including Legion up there and the CDs and everything. But I don't know. I like Yuki Yashima's work. He's a talented guy. Even with his crazy hentai stuff. Downright Superb Proto, after Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard, are we closer to getting a re-release of War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron games, or is that dead forever? Well, that's they'd have to talk to Hasbro, they'd have to work something out, they'd have to open up servers. I can't make that call. That's something that I think Microsoft getting Activision and Blizzard is not so much to revive things, is so much to own those intellectual properties and then do more with them. Build that Xbox brand and have more exclusives to it. I think it's more that than it is anything else. But what that would say, though, is if you're someone like me who played Fall of Cybertron and War of Cybertron on a PlayStation, well, I'm dumb luck screwed then. So, yeah, I'd have to play it on PC. Or get an Xbox One. Or an Xbox 360, but it would probably have to be an Xbox One. Or whatever the next thing will be. Alice Trapp, how do you feel about people saying IDW is going to lose Transformers? Well, it's going to lose Transformers. So they're correct. There's not much more I can really say about that outside of the NDAs. Non-disclosure agreements. Tom Laney, finally got Tigatron. I noticed that it is not a story or info on the back of the box. Are they going to stop with character descriptions? If you were referring to Kingdom, I don't have a Kingdom packaging near me, unfortunately. Everything usually is in storage. Yeah, copyright, as it's called. I'll grab this. I have a Siege one here nearby. Copyright is unfortunately kind of a little bit of going the way of the dodo bird and the dinosaur. Copyright now is kind of just dedicated to just showing the gimmicks, the cross sells, and that's about it really. You don't really even get kind of a cross sell or a copyright for like the theme or like what's going on. It's just kind of, it is what it is. It's Hasbro, trying to save money. You have to hire someone to do copyright. I used to do copyright stuff, but you have to pay those guys. So it's a lot easier to have Marcelo do box art, and that'll really be it. And then you get maybe the marketing person to kind of take care of the little things here and there. There was a packaging guy that was in our stream at one point. He doesn't work with Hasbro anymore, but he did the packaging for Siege, Earthrise, and Kingdom. And even then, like, they're not writing stories on there. They're just kind of doing their thing. Now it's up to marketing to kind of just handle little things here and there, but we're not getting those full, beautiful tech specs we used to get back in the day, which is kind of ironic because that's, it's kind of what we got here, the castrated ones. Like here's a side by side. So here's what we're getting for the Beast Wars ones in the reissues of the reissue Cheetor. And here's what it used to be. You used to get, I want to have it side by side. There we go. What are you doing, Proto? There we go. You used to have full bio, full tech spec. Obviously the trilingual packaging is kind of ruined there. So, but if you get the full English one, here you only get some of it, and then 17 languages. It is what it is, and that's only because they want to homage the old Kenner packaging. I'm pretty sure if they didn't have to homage the Kenner packaging, you'd have zero. There'd be nothing. That's a call that they have to make. It's to save money. Just like not getting a trading card that has any lore on it either. Gone are the peel to reveal golden disc trading cards. So It's how it is, my friends. Let's see. More going on the box than Tigatron. Yeah. Michael Koo with the $5 super chat. Likelihood that Hasbro would do Beast Wars, Injector, Japanese long rack, or head cannon. Long rack was a trademark that they had back in Cybertron. They trademarked it for that, and then they let it expire. And they haven't used long rack since. Injector is kind of the same thing. It was a trademark they had, and not anymore. So it's something that they would have to, number one, want to get those trademarks back, and number two, make the investment to do those molds and get brand new toys. I think more so, maybe reissues, but even then that's a stretch. Injector was not exactly the most glorious Beast Wars Fusor, kind of one of the uglier ones in my opinion. Very top heavy, and I think that if they were going to reissue some of those Fusor characters, I think there's a lot more Fusors they probably would have leaned on to do over Injector. Long rack, Japanese exclusive figure, turns into a giraffe. Pretty cool toy, has a tongue gimmick. But I don't know if they'd want to reissue it. And to do a brand new one, closest thing we got to a brand new long rack was the Cybertron character, which was just a extensive retool of Hoist from Transformers Armada, aka Smokescreen updated. So it's sad, but it's true. You know, it's sad, but it's true. It's something where we're going to be entering a world of inflation soon. Going into 2022, prices are going to be increasing, and Hasbro is going to probably see the recoil effect of that, of maybe less product is going to be purchased because it might be $3 to $5 to $10 more. And when that does happen, they're going to have to be a little stingy when it comes to what they do with their product. The sad truth of a lot of time what happens is when product doesn't sell well, they don't exactly make it easier for the customer. They kind of just pull it back on the product. They go, well, you know, we didn't make a lot of money this time, so when we do the next line, maybe put 2 less paint apps. You know, we got to play it safe. You know, it's sad, but it's true. Gone are the days when, oh, something didn't sell well we should probably lower the MSRP. It's not going to happen. It's not Beast Machines 2 going into RID when that did happen. The only time in Transformers' entire history did MSRP go down was in Robots in Disguise 2001. Downright Superb wants to know, Proto Tigatron has a quantum leap above the Cheetor mold. Mind you, is a Voyager, so that's probably one of the reasons. What other mold could be massively improved with a simple bump in price point and size? A lot of them. The deluxe price point to the Voyager price point is night and day. I 100% agree with Hot Rod being a Voyager class instead of him being a deluxe and not having his extra stuff and not having his little open and closed fists and his little visor gimmick. The Voyager price point didn't have the incline in inflation that the deluxe did. And I think that the deluxe having that huge incline in inflation has a lot to do with the fact that the deluxe price point has a lot less to work with in terms of budget, and they've had to constantly grow that in order to just catch up. Where the Voyager price point, man, look, Cyclonus, MVP from Kingdom, Dinobot, MVP, you know, the Tigatron you mentioned, MVP, the Primal, and MVP, like all those Voyager classes are fantastic toys because they have that budget that they could play with to make fantastic toys. Where when you get to like Leader class and Titan class, the only reason why you're even in those price points is because they're large characters and they need the size, not so much the budget. You know, like I finally got the mess with this price point. I finally got the mess with this mold through T-Rex, and I'm going like, damn. You know, like they could have pulled this off also in a Voyager if they wanted to make it smaller, but they only made it a Leader because they wanted it to be a larger figure for scale. But the Voyager price point is fantastic. It's fantastic. It's It's what the deluxe price point used to be back in 2009, or what the Scout price point. That was another one that doesn't exist anymore. The Scout price point, what it used to be in 2009, 2010, where Hasbro really figured out what is the maximum we could pull out of the budget and the price point. And man, it was really, really good. It was really, really good back then. And today, that's the Voyager price point. Tigatron is one of those MVPs. You know, look, even Inferno. Look, Inferno was an improvement of the grapple mold. The grapple mold had a whole bunch of QC issues. There was pegs that were busting on it from Earthrise. They fixed it with Inferno. So that Voyager price point, that's going to be where you're going to have to look in the future in a lot of ways for really good Transformer product that could be the most that they could be. Where you look at Cheetor, and Cheetor's not that great. I think the best thing to come out of that Cheetor mold is maybe that Night Prowler, just for homage sake. But I mean, man, if you want a good Cheetor, get the Masterpiece at this point. You know, because that Kingdom one is, I don't know, not feeling it. Not a good one. Not good. Not good at all. We got 9 minutes left. Wow. We got 9 minutes left in the stream tonight. 2 hours just flew like it always flows. Amazing. I'll take this moment while I wait for more super chats to come in to, again, plug the sponsors. Again, Hasbro, thank you for everything. Go check out Hasbro's YouTube channel for Transformers and watch some episodes. Good for their algorithms. That's the main reason. I'm going to be transparent with you guys. It's good for Hasbro's algorithms for you to go watch some episodes. So go watch some Transformer stuff like Cyberverse Bumblebee Adventures Season 4. It's all on there. And of course, again, thank you Symbiote Studios for being a sponsors, for the plush, the pins, and of course, the beautiful t-shirts. Today is Cat Bravo, Optimus Prime. Again, go pick up the shirts at symbiotestudios.com. Link is in the description below. And they got more coming in the near future. We got 8 minutes left in the stream. Hanging out with all the peeps tonight. Man, it flew today. We had a lot of good topics today, guys. We had a lot of good topics. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. Go read War Within. Don Figueroa, Simon Furman. What a great book. What a great book. What a great series of books. Excuse me. Michael Koo, to everyone celebrates. Oh, happy Chinese New Year is coming up. You know, it's funny. Every year, I used to go to this temple that was literally behind my parents' house for Chinese New Year's. And now we can't go because of the big V. Yeah. So it is what it is. But happy Chinese New Year to everyone. That's actually what's going to be slowing down a lot of production of stuff, because a lot of people go on Chinese New Year. Not just the Chinese, but the Vietnamese, for the Vietnamese factories. They go on vacation. So it's going to kind of slow down production and everything for almost a month. So some stuff is going to be held back a little bit. If stuff is produced in China, all the factories kind of stop. People go back to their families, celebrate. It's called the Spring Festival over there. That's what they call it. They call it Spring Festival, or Going Home Spring Festival. Kind of translates to that. And product's going to kind of slow down a little bit, production. But I think they deserve it. Go see their family and friends and just relax. Isn't that the most important thing? It's just to enjoy everything and just relax. Let's see. We got 6 minutes left, and hold on a second. I'm just sorting stuff over here because my phone just lit up. Should have left it turned off. But yeah, guys, again, thanks everyone who comes by the stream. We always do like a nice 2-hour stream, and we always get a whole bunch of people. We maxed out at around like 157, I think, or something. It's pretty good. Alice Trapp wants to know, leaving part of the backpack open on Beast Megatron kind of reminds me of the open mutant head halves. Yeah, the Bat mutant head thing. I'm surprised we haven't gotten that head sculpt at some point. You know, we have like all these different head sculpts for that Megatron. I'm surprised that they didn't try to do, maybe not Maybe not like the have the hinge, but like even a closed battle mask. I'm surprised like they didn't do the closed battle mask and throw that on the Rexy, like on the T-Rex Jurassic Park crossover, and then have that mold, and they could reuse that mold later. That would have been pretty cool, you know. There's Pedro, who is feeling down. I'll answer his question because he's feeling down. Hey Proto, I'm better. Question. Anyways, as comic book guy, you like DCAU cartoons like Batman the Animated Series or Justice League Unlimited? Absolutely. Absolutely. Batman the Animated Series is probably one of the most important cartoons ever made, period, just for how it affected the industry. And Justice League and Justice League Unlimited is an absolutely fantastic series. My favorite scene is when Flash becomes one with the Speed Force and he defeats Brainiac. And man, such a great show. That's my favorite Flash too. Wally West Flash, amazing show. My favorite episode, ooh, that's a tough one. Any episode with Huntress, because she's my girl. I love Huntress, and she made a big splash in the Justice League Unlimited stuff. She finally really got her first animation debut through that, where the only Huntress on TV prior to that was some weird live action stuff through through the DC live action stuff during the 70s. Very obscure. And then, of course, Batman Brave and the Bold had an Earth 2 kind of Huntress in it. But yeah, Justice League Unlimited, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Amazing series. Batman the Animated Series is fantastic. Teen Titans is fantastic. Justice League and Justice League Unlimited is fantastic. The lower tier ones are like Superman and Static Shock, but they're still pretty good too. They're worth the watch. Batman Begins. Batman Beyond, absolutely fantastic series. Love it too. DC, let me tell you something, man. DC was amazing when it comes to animation. They still are. WB, like, they are just killing it with the animated stuff. They really know how to tell a story. They really do. They are able to write for a younger demo, but still have the attention of an older demo. They're really good with that. Marvel, they have their hits or misses. Like the X-Men Fox animated was really good. Spider-Man Fox animated Silver Surfer was really good, even if it was short-lived. X-Men Earth's Mightiest Heroes was not X-Men Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Bite my tongue. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That recent series was fantastic, but there's a lot of sloth in between that just doesn't do well. Where DC really knows how to like knock them out of the park. They're really good at the home runs with that. Tom Laney, thank you Proto for all you do. Enjoy your weekend later all. Thank you Tom for coming. Michael Koo, Proto, thanks again for another great live stream. Thank you, Michael, for all the super chats and supporting the podcast. Alice Trapped, I honestly like lipstick on T-Rex more than I thought he would. I don't know, Alice. I would have liked the grin, personally. Come on, let's do get some focus going on here. I don't know. I'm not feeling the Ziggy Stardust. Who has silver lipstick? Ziggy Stardust had silver lipstick. Not feeling it. But I love the mold. I think the mold's great. And hey, it's T-Rex. Whoever thought we'd get another T-Rex toy? All these Megatron toys we got throughout the years based off of the Beast Wars design. Never had a T-Rex repaint. Not even the masterpiece. And then boom, we get it with this one. No problem for me. I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. Alice Trapped. How many male Transformers have lipstick? Oof, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's not really lipstick. It's just like the definition of the lips sometimes are a different color, because when you look at cell animation, a lot of times you have the separate cells, and sometimes the cells, because they're separate, they have to be a different color just to create differentiation. So sometimes the lips look like a different color. I'm trying to think of like ones that truly have lipstick though. Like it actually looks like lipstick, because think of like Apocalypse from like, let's say X-Men. Like he has like different color lips, but it's not lipstick. I guess It's not lipstick. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I never really thought about that. I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. Well, you even said yourself, true rarity. I do not know. I'd have to really like look. A lot of them have the single color. There must be someone though. Outside of, like I said, weird animation stuff from back in the day. There's got to be someone that has lipstick that's a dude. That's a dude. Andy Davis, most excellent stream. Well, thank you, Andy. And thank you for coming onto the stream and everything. And I think we are done, actually. We're at the 2-hour mark. So again, thank you everyone who came by the stream and participated and super chat and did all the cool stuff that we all do and just came to hang out and just talk Transformers and enjoy everything. Again, thank you to my sponsors, Symbiote Studios and Hasbro, for helping keep the podcast lights alive, because sometimes the views aren't going to be enough. You got to do other things too to kind of keep things going. But again, thank you everyone for coming. Like I always say, stay safe, take care of yourself. It's a crazy world out there. We're still living in the crazy hellscape world. So just stay safe with your friends and family. Enjoy life, enjoy the world, enjoy Transformers. And thank you. Thank you for being a fan and enjoying everything I do. And like always, like I say, roll out.